Hi guys, welcome back to another video tutorial. So in this tutorial, what we'll be going over through is quadratic inequalities. Now, before you say anything, yes, I know I have made another video tutorial on inequality, but the feedback that I got from my students is that they wanted more variety of inequality questions because the previous one just was one question. So what I'm going to do in this inequality topic, or the series of inequalities if you like, is I'm going to do each video. For each video I'm going to give different types of inequalities and show you how to solve them. And in this one, what we'll be looking for, or going over through, is when it's greater than 0. And in the next video tutorial, we'll be looking through when it's smaller than 0 and what's the differences between them in terms of the answers and how the methods, etc. Okay, so and also at the same time, what I'll be doing in these tutorials or in the series is I'll be giving you questions at the end of each video tutorial for you guys to try out and then see if you guys got it right or wrong, because I'll go through the questions as well, so that which wasn't in the previous video, in the old one. So hopefully this kind of setup, if you like, and this way of doing it will hopefully make it easier for you guys, or will make it better for you guys to understand this whole inequality topic. Okay, so let's get straight to the question. The question here is asking us, find the set of values of x for which x squared minus 5x minus 24 is greater than 0. Now, before going into inequalities here, the number one rule, very important, is you need to know your signs. Okay, so again, I don't know, my students said that there is a crocodile method or something that you can remember it by. I have no idea what that means. You know, put it down in the comments and explain to me what that means, because I have no idea what it means. So this sign basically means greater than. Okay, this sign means greater than. This sign means smaller than. So this sign means smaller than. Then you have another sign which means where there's a line underneath, which basically means greater than, or equals to. Okay, the line underneath just basically means equals to. So greater than or equals to. And then you have the other one and with a line on the bottom, which basically means smaller than, or equals to, or equals to. Okay, so these are very important to know the signs, or else yeah, it's going to be a bit confusing. Now the first step that I'm going to do to solve this is I'm going to get rid of this sign and put in equals. Okay, that sign is not important yet, so I don't need it right now. So I'm going to say x squared minus 5x minus 24 is equals to 0. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve this equation to find my value of x. Now, inequality questions, especially these kind of questions for GCSE, they will always be factorizable, which means you do not need to use a quadratic formula or the completing the square. Okay, this is very straightforward factorizing. Okay, so I'm going to use the factorizing method here to find my values of x. So what I want is two numbers when I multiply gives me minus 24, and two numbers when I add gives me minus 5. Now, if you're not quite sure on how to factorize, I'll put the link on the top right hand corner of your screen for the factorizing video tutorial. If you don't understand how to do that, I will highly recommend to go and watch that, because it will help you to be able to solve this question. Okay, so my two numbers that I'm going to have that gives me, when I multiply, gives me minus 24 and minus 5, is going to be minus 8 and 3, because I know minus 8 times 3 is minus 24, and I know that minus 8 plus 3 gives me minus 5. Now all I need to do is get my two brackets. So get my two brackets, and I'm going to equate that to 0, and I'm going to bring the x here. The two numbers that I found, I'm going to put them in the bracket. So minus 8 and plus 3. Doesn't matter which one. This could be plus 3 and minus 8. Doesn't matter. Now what I'm going to do is I have one solution where x minus 8 is equals to 0. So x is equals to 8. And then the other solution is x plus 3 equals 0. So x is equals to minus 3, because I'm bringing 3 to the other side and I'm bringing 8 to the other side, and the sign changes. Now I found my values of x. Okay, now there's one thing that you need to do. Now we're going to do, I guess, is graphs. But before going into graphs, you need to know how an x squared graph looks like, right? And an x squared graph looks like, what it looks like is not quite like that, but let me redraw that again. Like a U shape. Okay, that is an x squared graph looks how an x squared graph looks like. Okay, and we'll go through the negative when it's a negative x squared. We'll go through that in a separate video tutorial as well, so be on the lookout for that as well. That could possibly even come up on your exams. So we know that an x squared graph looks like this. So I don't know, call it U shape or smiley face. So what I'm going to do now here, if I draw my graph, again, this is not going to be accurate, I'm just sketching this. So if I, well, talk about straight lines. Okay, never mind. You understand what's happening here, right? So I have two values here, x equals 8 and x equals 3. So I should really label my axis. So that's my y-axis, and this is my x-axis. Yeah. Now x equals 8 and x equals minus 3. Okay, so did I say 3 at the beginning? Should be minus 3. So minus 3 is going to be somewhere here. Okay, again, we're sketching, so it doesn't have to be accurate. And x equals 8, I'm just going to put that here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I know that my graph is going to be this way. So if I were to, I don't know, what should we draw? Okay, let's use green here. So I know this is going to be an x squared graph, so you know the shape is going to be like that. So I need to make sure that the shape it goes through these 2 points. So my x squared graph, okay, that wasn't quite good. Again, guys, obviously you could you could be a lot more accurate in your drawings, okay? Because obviously I'm just sketching here, so I'm not really being accurate. So obviously this should be minus 3. It goes on minus 3, and this goes on 8, okay? So this is your graph. Very simple. Just the shape is the same, but it just needs to go through these 2 points. Right. Now, I need to get an answer now because I need to find the set of values. Now, if I look at this point 8 here, right? This point 8 here, and this is my x-axis, okay? As this line, so just look, see if you can understand what I'm about to explain to you. As this line goes this way, or it keeps going this way, right? What is happening to my x value? Is my x value increasing or decreasing as my line is going this way? Isn't it increasing if you think about it, because it's 8 and it's going to go 9, 10, etc. Right? So this x value is increasing. So I can say, as my answer here, the first bit of the answer is x has got to be greater than 8, because it's 8, and as my line is going this way, my x value is increasing. So I say x is greater than 8. And if I look at my minus 3 here, and let's look at my x value at this point here, what's happening to my x value as this line is going this way? Think about it. This is 0, minus 1, minus 3. This x value here is decreasing as we keep going to the left, right? So as my line is going this way, isn't your x value decreasing? So can I not say x is smaller than minus 3? Do you guys understand that? And that's pretty much my answer for this inequality, right? So remember, whenever it's a greater than 0 sign, you're always going to get 2 separate answers. And you'll understand that when we go to the next tutorial, when I do the next video tutorial about the smaller than sign. So whenever it's greater than 0, your answer is always going to be 2 separate answers. And in this case, x is greater than 8 and x is smaller than minus 3, right? Just based on the explanation that I've given. Now, if you still feel a bit kind of confused on the explanation, just leave a comment down below and I will explain it again to you. And that's not a problem at all if there's anything that's confused or that confuses you here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of questions for you guys to try out. Right, so here are some questions for you guys to try and do. So pause the video and try them out, and then once you finish, play the video back and then see if you got your answers, if you got them right or wrong. Okay? Right, so we're going to solve these inequalities. So I'm going to do the first one. So what I'm going to do first is I can rewrite this as x squared plus 3x minus 28 is equals to 0. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to factorize it. So we want 2 numbers when we multiply, it gives me minus 28, and 2 numbers when I add, it gives me 3. Whoops, that's an 8. Okay, so what's the 2 numbers when you multiply? It gives you minus 28 and 3. So you know that's 7 and 4. So 7 and minus 4. So 7 and minus 4. Okay, now all I'm going to do is put these into 2 brackets. So I have 1 bracket and then another bracket, and that's equals to 0. Put my x, and and then put the two numbers in, so plus 7 and minus 4. So one of my solutions is x plus 7 is equals to 0, so x is equals to minus 7, and then x minus 4 is equals to 0, and then x is equals to 4. Okay, now if we were to draw the graph, again, I'm going to try and be as accurate as I can. Oh my gosh, it's not even a straight line. Right. So your two values that you have is minus 7 and 4. So I'm just going to put minus 7 somewhere here. Again, doesn't have to be accurate. Minus 7. That's my value. And that's not minus 7. Okay, let's put minus 7 here. And then positive 4, I'm going to put somewhere here. Okay, so I know that my line is going to be, well, the graph is going to be a U shape, a smiley face quadratic that goes through these 2 points. Now, my answer, because I have to look at my inequality here, right? It's greater. So greater basically means I'm going to shade on the top. And I don't know if I did that on the previous video on the example, if I shaded, but basically if it's greater, it basically means you have to greater than 0, so you shade on the top, okay? Because it's greater than 0. Okay, I think I missed that on the tutorial. So what yeah, I think I did miss that. Okay, so basically, one little thing I forgot to add here on the tutorial is because if it's greater than 0, you have to shade on the top, okay? Because it's greater than 0. And that's it. You don't really need to do it, but it's best to do it so because it shows the examiner you know which region you're looking at. And now what I need to do is get my answer. So I'm looking at my x value here, and okay, I forgot to add the x's. So if we put that as x, and this is y. So what will happen is if I look at this 4 here, as this line is going this way, my x value is increasing, so x is greater than 4. And if I look at minus 7 here, as this line is going this way, my x value is decreasing, so x is smaller than minus 7. Okay, and that's pretty much it for the first one. Now if we go to the second one, what we're going to do is we have x squared minus 6x plus 8 is greater than or equals to 0. So again, I'm going to forget about the sign and just put equals to solve this equation. And I'm going to factorize this. So I want two numbers when I multiply gives me positive 8, and two numbers when I add gives me minus 6. So the two numbers that gives me 8 and minus 6, I know that minus 4 minus 2 gives me minus 6, and minus 4 times minus 2 gives me 8. Now all I'm going to do is put these into two brackets. So two brackets equals to 0. So this is going to be x, and this is going to be x, and then you have minus 4 and minus 1. So one of my solution is x minus 4 equals 0, so x is equals to 4. The other solution is x minus 1 is equals to 0, so x is equals to 1. Now if I had to draw this in the graph, again, we draw my graph, and this is 4 and 1, is it? Yeah, so 4 and 1, so they're all both positive. So I know that 1 is going to be somewhere here, and I know that 4 is going to be somewhere here. Again, not being very accurate. I know my graph is going to be that U shape, but it has to go through these 2 points. Okay, so that's my graph, and now, okay, this is x, and this is y. I have to look at my sign, and my sign here says greater than 0. Don't worry about the equals. Yeah, greater than 0. So if this is 0, okay, greater than 0 means it's going to be on the top. It's going to shade. I'm going to shade everything on the top that's above the line 0. Okay. So again, if we now look, funny, this is 4 and this was 4 as well. Okay, if we look at this line here at 4, as this line is going this way, my x value is increasing. So x is greater than 4. And for my point 1 here, as this line is going this way, my x value is decreasing. So x is smaller than 1. But there's one thing that we forgot here. Because there's an equal sign, we have to add the equal sign at the end. Okay? And that's pretty much it. So all the equal sign is you just basically put that line underneath in your answer. That's it. There's really nothing there. But you cannot forget that, or else you will lose a mark. So this is pretty much the the explanation for these questions. If you got them right, well done. And I think, yeah, again, just double check if I put this in the tutorial when I explain this. But if I didn't, basically all I'm doing here is shading the top because it's greater than 0. That's it. So if I missed it out on the explanation, yes, apologies for that. But yeah, all you have to do, if it's greater than 0, you just shade everything above 0. That's it. Okay, and you won't get penalized as well in the exam as long as you get the graph and you show it. But I would say definitely put that in. Okay, if there's any questions that you don't any questions that you have, put it down in the comments on the questions here. And yeah, if this video tutorial has helped you, please give this video a big thumbs up, and I shall see you on the next one.